The top five tight ends going into the 2019 season. You might be wondering, oh, your last three top, position players, those were top tens. Why is it a top five now? Well, because I feel like it, and it's my list. I just felt like it was easier to, get a list of five than it was a list of 10. And spotlight five players than 10. I felt like the top five tight ends are really good, and if I were to go to 10, the next five after wouldn't have been so great. So I decided to make it five. Let's start the list. At number 5, Evan Engram. Evan Engram missed some games in 2018. But had he played the full, 16 games, I think his stats would have looked more like what they were in 2017, where he had 723 yards, which was 5th in the league that year. He had 577, so he would have definitely had surpassed that had he played a full amount of games. One of really the only weapons that the Eli Manning has. It's a shame that they don't have an offensive line, and so it's probably really hard for him to get the ball. And he might get the ball a little bit less, especially now with Saquon Barkley. But I think 5's a good solid spot. I thought about putting him at 4, but I thought, well, he was hurt, so got to penalize him a little bit. At number 4, Eric Ebron. He had 13 touchdowns last season. He was very much a red zone threat. He was a threat in the red zone. Like, there was, if the Colts were in the red zone, you knew who was getting the football. It was Eric Ebron. Had 7,500 yards last year. Ranked 5th in the league in yards. Ranked 6th in the league in receptions. This is for tight ends. Same with Evan Engram. I want to make sure I get that right. I think 4 is a good solid spot. I don't know how great he is, when they're not in the red zone, but he's pretty good when they're in the red zone. At number 3, my guy, George Kittle. Had 1,377 yards last season, which was 1st in the league and also the single-season tight end record. He's only going to get better. Next year you could be talking about him being in the number 2 spot. He is a big part of the 49ers offense. First in the league for tight ends. At number 2, I have Zach Ertz. 116 receptions, which was 1st among tight ends. 1,163 yards, was 3rd among tight ends. And 8 touchdowns on the season. A lot of receptions. A lot of yards, not as much as George Kittle. I thought about it. I'm like, hey, maybe George Kittle deserves to be number 2 over Zach Ertz, but that'll probably be next year if Kittle has another good season. But I think you could flip-flop, but I'll go with Ertz here at number 2. And at number 1, the number 1 tight end, I think this is pretty obvious who the number 1 tight end will be. Travis Kelce is my number 1 tight end. Had 1,336 yards, 2nd among tight ends, and 10 touchdowns on the season. With Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, his numbers are probably going to be right there, or get maybe higher. He's a big threat. He's really, really. Defenses have a tough time, stopping him, and it's like I said, it's pretty obvious. I think with any of the guys I had in the top 3, you could have said, oh, maybe they could sneak in at number 1, but Travis Kelce, his numbers are, ridiculous. I think that, maybe not ridiculous, but they're really good, and I think he's very much earned the top spot among tight ends.